Alright, so we're back with another episode of Game of Thrones, guys. The last episode, I don't know, this season seems to, according to a lot of people, hit a lot of roadblocks in terms of quality, right, compared to past seasons. Now, Emilia Clarke, daenerys, has said that this episode, episode 5, is the episode to look for. In terms of the battles, I don't know. I can't see this topping episode 3, but if it does, that would be great. I don't know. The last episode, similar to the one before it, it's still an extremely well done episode. I guess, I don't know, for a lot of persons, the writing was just not up to par in terms of how Daenerys got to, how Daenerys was possibly hit out of the skies by, with perfect accuracy, 3 arrows shot one after the other, hitting one of her dragons, and why she wasn't able to see that attack coming over the ships, to that as a matter of fact. So there's just a lot of small things like that, small details that I think, I'm not sure why they didn't do a complete season for this season, if they felt as though it wasn't possible to fit everything into just 6 episodes, because it's starting to feel like it really wasn't possible to fit everything in 6 episodes. Right, so I would have preferred if they extended it a bit and just do the full do 8 episodes, or the complete 10 as they have in previous seasons. But it is what it is. We are where we are now, and while it's not the best, it's still great. It's still pretty damn good. So there's still a lot to see, and we're all invested. We've been watching for years and years, so we all want to see how it concludes. So, irrespective of how you feel about, a few episodes, where they may have dropped the ball, for those persons who experience the darkness, I imagine that would be a problem in this episode, since they're not fighting at night, or at least I don't think so. But irrespective of how you feel about individual episodes, you have to admit that the season itself is one of the strongest, right? At least in terms of payoff, at least, because it's like Avengers Endgame, having to watch several seasons up to now, so you have a lot of expectations in terms of what to expect, and it may not deliver for everyone, but I'm sure the writers did their best to ensure that most people are satisfied. So that's all we can hope to get, right? All right, episode 5. And the program is rated R. Alright, it begins. Still don't like that Brienne moment. I'm sorry. I thought they were better off. They were better as just friends. So I still didn't like the romance element that they chose to add to it. The true heir to the throne. Someone's writing a note, I'm guessing. But he doesn't have proof, though. Short of Bran, they still need the Magister's diaries or the notes from it.
Come in. He does.
Because you told him. As I said, he betrayed me.
I'm glad Sansa told me. I am your hand. I need to be aware of any.
It without coming to me, without asking my
That's your
permission.
permission?
It was a mistake.
She trusted you to spread secrets that could destroy your own queen. And you did.
Our intentions were good. We wanted what you want, a better world, all of us. Varys as... But it doesn't matter now.
Doesn't
What are
matter.
they gonna do? Kill Jon? Kill Tyrion? She didn't seem this torn up when Jorah died. Yeah.
Your
Or
queen.
my aunt and... Said he...
All right then.
The people who live there, they're not your enemies. They're innocents, like the ones you liberated in Marine.
In Marine, the slaves turned on the
Heroes? They're hostages.
They are.
Yeah, you lost me,
In a
Tyrion. You
tyrant's
lost me.
group. Whose fault is that?
Mine.
What does it matter whose fault it is? Thousands of...
It's wrong. Mercy is our strength. Our mercy towards future generations, who will never again be held hostage by a tyrant.
Cersei's followers will abandon her if they know the war is lost. Give them that chance.
Yeah.
If the city
your argument
surrenders,
is
they will
lost
ring the
now,
bells and
Tyrion.
raise the gates. Please, if you...
Wait for me outside the city. You'll know when it's time.
One not particularly innocent dwarf. Seems like a fair trade of my childhood.
And if it weren't for Varys, you wouldn't have survived up until now when you had him killed.
You were all I had.
No, one of the two is doomed. Jon wanted, but
You come with me. You die here.
Sandal.
First time she's ever called him by his name. There's a path for the Hound to have his showdown. Acting against Cersei's will. Yeah, not this time. Okay then.
I want our baby to live. I want our baby to live. Don't let me die, Jake.
Look at me.
Not like this. Not like this. Not like this.
Look me in the eye. Don't look away. Don't look. Look at me. Just look at me.
That's it. Yeah. But look, I kind of expected Cersei to go like a, like the badass that she's been built up to be. But okay, what is this? The second or third time now, Arya? One lone horse who survived. Daenerys instead. So far since the season, for this season, the writers have done an excellent job in terms of where the dramatic elements of the series are, and they've done a great job at cinematography and the dramatic elements of it. But I'm going to address some of the issues now because I know it's going to be, there's going to be like a ton of backlash tomorrow, and I'm expecting some of the similar complaints from the last episode, from the episode 3 with the Night King, to repeat itself for this one as well, right? We got our standoff with the Hound, which I'll touch on later, but the episode started out with Jaime making his final, not Jaime, sorry, Tyrion making his final plea to Daenerys to spare the people in the at King's Landing, and of course she refused, but he made somewhat of a compromise that Alright, it's fine, you're gonna attack, I accept that you're gonna attack, but if you attack and the people ring the bell to signal that they've surrendered, cease your attack. And I mean, she does nod in her head to Grey Worm, but I assumed that meant, okay, I agree with you, Tyrion. And of course, she totally disregarded that for the entire episode, or at least not initially, right? It seems the writers are trying to communicate to us that she's in a fit of rage, and she's now attacking recklessly, and this is why they're going to need to stop her in the final episode, right? They're building Daenerys up to be this antagonist now, and they've been doing that since this season has started. Slowly building her up as an antagonist to the people, right? And we're at the pivotal point now where she's attacking the village, she's attacking King's Landing, and the army has surrendered, but she continues to attack. But I don't know. I mean, her rage initially goes towards Cersei, right? She has said as much to Tyrion in her numerous threats, and she's threatening him here again that if he fails her again, that will be the last time he fails her, threatening to kill him. And at this point, honestly, I would not, I would have no objections to it, if only because Tyrion got Varys killed earlier in the first part of the episode, right? Varys was one of, as I said, Varys and Littlefinger were two of my favorite characters in the series. Littlefinger died. Varys had more genuine, he was looking out for the realm. His decisions weren't selfish ones, right? So he was one of the few that remained consistent throughout the series. And Tyrion told Daenerys that he's plotting against her or advising the other king, advising the others that alright, Jon is the rightful heir to the throne, and that is treason. And of course, she ends up burning Varys to death. We didn't see the burn, but I don't see any reason why they would fake Varys' death. So I imagine that she killed him. Alright, and Varys was of course right, and we're seeing the repercussions of Tyrion's actions, or his inaction here, with her burning everyone. And as I said, the only challenge here is that her anger was directed towards Cersei for most of this season, so it doesn't lend itself to her attacking the entire, all of King's Landing. At the very least, the last half hour of this episode, the soldiers surrendered initially, and then she started to attack, and basically the soldiers have been wiped out at this point, or given up or ran away, right? So all we see her attacking now are just civilians on the ground, just people on the ground, and I don't know what's to what end, right? And it's not even so much that she's attacking them. If she attacked Cersei and then continued her attack, I would understand. But she has not made it to, or she did make it to the keep where Cersei was, but she didn't destroy it. She attacked it, and then she left and went back to attacking the innocents on the ground. So I don't know. I'm just not clear on why her anger was directed at Cersei. If anything, missandei died. So if anything, what I would expect her to do is to head straight to the keep where Cersei was and just obliterate it completely, right? But again, maybe the writers are trying to communicate to us that alright, she's in a fit of rage. She's not seeing reason, and so she's just attacking wildly, right? She's the dragon queen, so she's doing her dragon thing, attacking wildly. Fine. The attack itself, the transition, and this is what they've not been nailing a whole lot this season, is the execution, right? She came out of nowhere, and I initially thought that she was going to, come down from the skies over King's Landing, because all the scorpions were on the walls outside, and also all the perimeter of the wall, right? And so she'd be able to bypass them that way and attack them. But no, she attacked the boats first, And while I could understand that attack being effective, I don't understand why it is effective now, but it wasn't effective the last episode, right? It's a smaller fleet. In the previous episode, it was a smaller fleet, and they were able to hit their target with pinpoint accuracy, but not here. So it's just, the execution is just a bit weird. But that aside, we won't focus too much on that. There's a whole lot that has happened beyond that. So she takes out Euron's fleet. He of course gets his match with Jaime finally. I suppose fighting over who gets to pay child support for Cersei's kid. Hey, so they fight, and Jaime. I thought Jaime should have been lost because Euron stabbed him. Stabbed him in the chest. Not the chest, but lower abdomen. He stabbed him twice, and somehow he's still up and running about, determined to save Cersei. And Tyrion provided a way. I'm assuming that's why he set up he told Jaime about the secret passage for them to sneak away, and it almost worked. I mean, on their way back, the passage was blocked by all the destruction, so they weren't able to make it out. And I don't know. I'm just the Cersei's end. I imagine would have been her stubbornly going out. As fierce as she's been for the past few seasons, but she seems to have gone. I don't know. I understand that she's always been one of those characters who's. I mean, she's a mother. She's a mother. She's been a lover to Jaime, so she's not always been a hardened character. But I didn't expect her to go out. In the arms of her lover, crying. That's just not what I've come to expect from Cersei. If she's going out, I expected if she's going out, in some ridiculous way that we would not see coming, right? I wouldn't have been surprised if she had some dragon fire stored somewhere else. We saw green flames all around the city. I'm not sure what the significance of it is supposed to be. But I'm slightly disappointed by Cersei's death in and of itself. But I expected it to happen. But many of us imagined that Jaime would be the one to kill her, or after finding out that there's some betrayal or another, or Arya would kill her. But we got neither of those things. In fact, it wasn't even Daenerys that killed her. It was rubble. So I expect there are going to be some complaints about that from fans tomorrow, and I understand it in part, right? I also understand why and to some extent maybe why the writers chose not to go in that direction. It kind of puts it kind of completes her arc with Jaime here, for him to be the one with her when she goes and they both die together. They both die together, not in the way that many of us would have wanted, but it's a conclusion to their story. John was on the front lines with the Grey Worm. Initially, Daenerys, they made a point to say that, or to suggest that Daenerys felt that John betrayed her, and I don't know. I expected something to come off that, and it may very well still come. But she just said to Tyrion that John betrayed her by telling his sister, who then told Tyrion, who then told Varys. A lot of betrayals in there, somewhere in between. So I'm not sure why any of the others aren't being executed. But yeah, she said John betrayed her, but there weren't really any repercussions for that. Not really, right? So they just brought it up, and it was just dismissed. It was dismissed just the same later on. I imagine maybe it will come back up next episode because John has now realized that she's out of control and shouldn't be the one sitting on that throne, right? So he was on the front lines with, and he saw the chaos, and he saw the soldiers surrender, and he saw daenerys attack them, and burn them and the innocents, and burn everyone on the ground, even though they had already won. So I think, what they're trying to do, and they've succeeded in doing it, is, Jon coming to the realization that this is not someone who should be leading them, and he may just have to, stop with that. I don't want it thing, as Varys says, the one who wants it the least is the one who deserves it the most. So I imagine at the end of this we are going to see Jon on the throne. Not what I would want. I know there are a lot of Jon fans out there, but I don't think he's. I think both of them ruling together would have made more sense than Jon leading alone. At least, unless he has someone smarter than he is at his right hand. Hopefully, Sansa. Because he's not a capable leader. He has the heart and all those, all that thing going for him, fine. But it takes more than that to be a leader, right? Charisma isn't the only thing required. And while wildlings and other people will follow him, I don't see the people in the south, just doing that. So. For the same reason why Ned wouldn't have been the best ruler, and I believe maybe that's one of the reasons why he didn't take the throne himself. It's the same reason why Jon should not. But I know that's how the story will end. To give the viewers or his fans a more satisfying ending. So it is what it is, right? We finally got our the Hound versus Mountain showdown, and it was everything that we'd imagined. I was, I'm tempted to say, my expectations weren't completely met, but I think we're gonna find that that happens a lot. It's obvious that at this point the writers had to wrap things up in a bit in a quick fashion, and they probably didn't get to expand on a lot of the details as we would have wanted, but we got the showdown. We got a Clegane Bowl. The Mountain didn't go down easily. The Hound had a horrible time fighting him, and I'm not even sure if he's dead, because he took a sword to the chest and he's still moving around. The Hound, he finally had that moment with Arya that I thought we would get in episode 1, when everyone was having their little reunion before the war with the Night King, and he and Arya was just like, hey, and then left. Right? They had a little moment in the last episode too, but it's just good to see Arya acknowledge that he was protecting her all this time, and she finally says thank you, and she actually called him by his name for the first time. So he says thank you, Sandor, thank you. So it's the first time that I ever actually heard her call him by his name. So it was a good moment between the two, and that made it all the more satisfying. Him saving her for the one last time, because he told her, if you follow me, you will die, because this is one way. There's no going back after this. I don't know. Imagine if she went with him, maybe he would have had a better chance of killing the Mountain. But that guy seemed unstoppable at this point. So short of what the Hound did was to push him through, through the walls, over the keep, and hopefully falling from that height somehow kills him. If not, the flames probably will, because so that's the end of that. I'm sad to see the Hound go. So between the Hound and Varys, they're two of my favorite. All my favorite characters seem to be dying off. It doesn't seem to be a good day for those characters. Tyrion was one, but after this episode, I'm out. I'm sorry, he got Varys killed. He's just fallen down my list of favorite characters. He's been making some horrible decisions all season. And him, and what hurt me most is that Varys saved his life when his dad would have killed him, because when he was suspected for killing Joffrey, right? And they were about to execute him, and Varys smuggled him away, and he turned Varys in, right? I mean, I would have liked if, maybe there was no way around it, right? Varys did say initially last episode when they spoke that we both have to do what we have to do. So I think he knew it was coming, and he went out. He went out like a G, right? He knew it was coming. He just went, said what he needed to say, and that was it. But Tyrion, Tyrion lost me. I wouldn't have expected him to do that. At the very least, I would have expected him to say, "Okay, Daenerys, this is what is happening." But you can't just go around burning everybody who you feel betrays you. But maybe in some way he did object off screen, but that's it for Varys, and a little bit of my respect for Tyrion. He may yet redeem himself, but who knows? I mean, he's been trying, and as I've said before, he's expecting the best possible outcome in a war that doesn't have that where that's just not possible. These characters have just been through too much, and they've suffered too much, they've fought too much, so it's just not gonna happen. Right? But he tried. He released Jaime, which I'm assuming Daenerys will find out about next episode and probably kill him for. But no, the next episode is the last episode. I imagine that she will be overthrown next episode, so I doubt she'll have the opportunity to kill Tyrion. She'll probably have a lot more to worry about at that point. But he freed Jaime and told Jaime to go and smuggle Cersei out. And of course that did not go very well, and I don't know, as I said, Tyrion he was the voice of reason. He's had a lot of failure as a hand between last season and this one, so he would make, I want to say he would make a good hand for Jon, because that seems to be where this is tying up to be, Jon on the throne. But Tyrion, I don't know. I don't think he'd be a great hand. Not after the many losses. Look, you have to admit, I love Tyrion as much as the next person, but I've been rooting for the guy since season 1. But he's a horrible tactician, and all his moves that he's been making so far, his advisory, they've just been going south. And I can understand Daenerys firing, not burning him to death, but firing him for giving horrible advice. So that, I mean, but he's one of the few that's left. From season 1, we've lost. We keep losing people every episode. Not the ones that I would want to see gone, but unfortunately, it's still here. Arya, of course, we got quite a bit of Arya, a bit more than I thought we would have, and I understand that they were trying to sell the scene, the destruction, right? That this is what is happening. That lady and her daughter was there when Arya and the Hound were passing through and trying to get inside, and she said to her daughter, "Let's follow them." And then she was there again when Jaime was trying to get through, and then they just kept following that lady and her daughter, I suppose, to try to to try to force us to see, how the locals, how the people that live there, the commoners, are being affected by this war, right? So they've been following that character and her daughter for some time, and then they followed Arya going through the city and the destruction, and her attempting to save the lady and her daughter, and both of them ending up dead. And I understand they were trying to sell the point that, okay, Daenerys bad, Daenerys equals destruction. But after the first 15 minutes, I kind of got that message, and then it went on and on for another 15 minutes, longer than it needed to. So, and then there was the scene with the horse at the end. Why the slow walk towards the horse? I get it. I need a way to get out of here. You're the one horse that somehow seems to have not run away in all this destruction. My magic pony. Fine. But why the slow? It was just really funny, and it just caught me off guard because I was like, is there something? Is there something special about this horse? Because she was just walking slowly, intense, this intensity and the dramatic moment going towards the horse. I don't get why that needed to be there. But I mean, I get the point. Okay. Daenerys bad, right? Daenerys burns fire. I get it. So we had a long scene with Arya trying to escape and witnessing the lives that were taken and seeing the destruction, and maybe this is her build up to to killing Daenerys herself. Do what Jon will not do, because I'm sure he will not do it. I'm sorry, but as I said, Jon needs someone who knows how to someone who will draw the sword when it needs to be drawn, and someone who can politically play the game a hell of a lot better than he can. And I think in Sansa and Arya, that those are his two aides. Alright, Sansa knows how to play the Game of Thrones a hell of a lot better than he does, and Arya can be his sword, willingly or otherwise. Sometimes in his case, it's a proven fact by now. It's better that he does not know things sometimes than it is for him to actually know. So with him ruling and Sansa and Arya by his side, I can see this working out a lot better. But I don't know if he'll have forgiven Sansa by now for telling Tyrion, although she was right. This does prove that she was right, but I imagine he's still gonna hold some grudge towards her for it, in spite of that. But I'm sorry, I'm gonna say at this point, screw Jon. Okay, so he'll end up on the throne. Hopefully eventually he forgives Sansa for telling Tyrion. But none of that led to her to Daenerys burning the city. She did that on her own. So he needs to wake up, and hopefully this was his wake up call. It was an episode of loss, right? I don't know what became of Grey Worm. We saw him for quite a bit attacking, and for a moment there I actually thought he was going to kill Jon when he turned around. I figured maybe Daenerys gave him instructions that when the chaos starts, turn around and you throw a spear in his heart. But that didn't happen. And I mean, I'm sure he's infuriated just as much as Daenerys is about missandei's death. So he was going through, spearing one guy after the next, and doing his thing. And I mean, again, I'm not quite sure what happened to him. He could have gotten swallowed up in all the fire and destruction, but I don't think they would take him out off screen like that. So odds are he's still alive. And but again, who exactly between him and Daenerys? Who's all the rage aimed at? Right? Is it the minions in the streets, or is it Cersei? And none of the two seems to have been able to determine who exactly they're trying to kill. They're just killing random people. But I think Grey Worm's still alive. If anything, I would want him to come out of this whole thing okay, and he and Unsullied can go back to Marine or something. But because I mean, don't die for Daenerys. No, I can see the Dothraki laying down their lives for her and dying for her, but I hope the Unsullied don't, or at the very least Grey Worm survive this whole thing. This episode. So I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of bets that you've lost, about who would get a chance to kill Cersei. And at this point, no one won. No one would have won unless you put a bet on Rubble killing Cersei. So no one would win this, right? So be sure to post down in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are on this episode. and what your predictions are for the season finale. Who do you believe will actually be responsible for killing Daenerys? Will it be Jon, and or will it be Arya? I'm guessing Arya. I don't believe Jon has it in him to do it at this stage, even if he knows that that's what needs to be done. I don't see him doing it. Drogon is still alive, and I'm not quite sure how they would handle that, but I mean, Jon is a Targaryen as well, so there could be one last betrayal where Drogon, switches sides and somehow feels some connection to Jon and then stands down, right? So be sure to post some comments and know what your thoughts are. Hit like or subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.